Good morning. It's Thursday, November 20th. International Children's Day. Oh my God. First men and now children. Who will they think of next? No, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. International Children's Day. And now the news. Starting with the hearing of James Comey, the former FBI director who is currently in court for existing. Well, no, technically he is there for lying under oath, but if you don't remember, here is what you missed on Glee. This all goes back to an October 2016 Wall Street Journal article that talked about Hillary Clinton's email use. This was a big deal at the time for two reasons that are funny in a way that is actually a hurt. It's a hurt. First, funny because we didn't really understand how emails worked at the time. So when people talked about her servers, people just thought, I don't know, sounds bad. I bet she's a criminal. But also because at that time, we thought that between Hillary Clinton, who was sending emails to her assistant to print for her because she didn't know how to connect her computer to the printer, and Donald John Trump's general existence in life, we, as a collective society, thought that Hillary's emails were the bigger crime. It hurts. It hurts to think about. That is the truth. So this article comes out about an investigation into Hillary's emails, and it's just specific enough to make it clear that there is a leak at the DOJ. Everyone assumes it's Comey, but he says that he didn't do it. Okie doke, we're good to go. A lot of stuff happens in between, including Comey investigating Trump for very obvious ties to Russia that prove to be true because duh. And also, Comey making a big deal about investigating Hillary's emails. Do you remember this? Do you remember that very, very close to Election Day, Comey came out and said that he was investigating Hillary Clinton and her emails. He was going to reopen the case and take a look again. Do you remember this? What if I told you that is not what happened? That's not even what he was investigating. He was actually investigating Anthony Weiner, but his wife was Hillary's assistant. So he needed to dive into Anthony's emails, so he also needed to dive into his wife's emails, which meant that he would also be seeing emails to and from Hillary. So he sent a letter to Congress to say, heads up, I'm going to be doing this. And then he held a press conference to say that Hillary acted extremely inappropriate. It was a whole press conference about it. Said that Hillary was careless in her actions, and then said, let's not charge her though. Let's cut her some slack. Careless in her actions, we're not going to charge her this time though. It was not a very good press conference, and that's why I genuinely was wondering, do you remember if that press conference was about Comey saying that he was going to reopen that case? Because that press conference was wildly misunderstood. Why not just say, she didn't do crimes, don't worry, I saw the emails. She just doesn't know how to connect to a printer. Who among us? This week, I did send an email to one of the PAs to say, do you mind printing? I'm pretty sure the subject said, please print, which was one of her many emails that she sent. I'm just as guilty as Hillary Clinton now. Uh-oh. So 2016 election happens. Trump gets elected a little bit because of that press conference. And now cut to 2020. And Tedward Cruz wants to suck up to Trump. And so he brings Comey onto the stand and says, hey man, back in 2017, when you said that you did not authorize that leak to the Wall Street Journal, do you still believe that? Because apparently, 3 months after that, Andrew McCabe, who was the deputy director at the time, said that he knew about the leak. Sounds like somebody should also talk to Andrew McCabe about all of this. Now, in 2020, Comey said that he did not know about the leak. And now here we are. That is what this is all about. It's not about anything else. It is not even about Russia or the Wall Street Journal leak. It is about the time that Tedward Cruz asked Comey, do you still think that you weren't the leak in 2016? Because it's 2025 and Trump does, well, actually, he does a lot of things, but a big one is political persecution. So of course, he wants to punish Comey somehow. But remember that even though there are a lot of reasons that Trump was elected in 2016, the email thing, that didn't help Hillary. It helped Trump. But once Trump was in office, Comey continued to investigate Trump's ties to Russia. So Trump went searching for literally anything that he could find to charge Comey with. And what he found was that maybe in 2020, Comey possibly lied to Tedward Cruz about something that happened in 2016. That's what this case is about. But Comey, he's got himself a little hunch that perhaps this is about political prosecution. So he'd like to just double check to see if his tum-tum is right. So he asked the court on Wednesday, hey, I think my gut is telling me that this doesn't seem like it's on the up and up. And on Wednesday, a U.S. district judge returned the answer of, yeah, no, something's not right here. Literally on Wednesday, the DOJ had to admit that, whoops-a-daisies, not every grand jury member saw the final version of the indictment that was handed down. Well, how many people could have missed it? Maybe one or two. Maybe they were in the restroom while the final version was handed down. No. Only the foreperson and one other person saw the final indictment. Earlier this week, the judge said that this case may rest on, quote, uncharted legal territory. And that was before the judge knew about this. And now the whole thing might get tossed thanks to a, quote, disturbing pattern of profound investigative missteps that potentially undermine the integrity of the grand jury proceeding, end quote. Additionally, when asked whether the Department of Justice attorney had learned whether a declination memo had been prepared by career prosecutors recommending that they actually don't charge Comey because there is not enough evidence, the DOJ lawyer, Tyler Lemons, first tried to dodge the question, and then after the judge was like, my guy, you just answer the question. Did you see the letter or not? Did you know the letter existed or not? He said he was not allowed to answer this question. He was told not to answer this question. This is not going well for the Department of Justice. Because if you were trying to look either competent or like this is not for political retribution, I have the worst possible news for you. So we'll see where things go from here, but if I had to guess, I'd say they will probably go in Comey's direction. Do you ever spill something and then think like, oh man, that was such a simple mistake. I wish I had not just like taken that corner too fast and then spilled all of my cereal on the ground. And now this is going to take so long to clean up. This is my whole day now, is cleaning up my Lucky Charms. I wonder if James Comey ever thinks about that press conference. After it made its way through the House and the Senate, the bill compelling the Department of Justice to make the Epstein files available to the public has made its way to the president's desk and on Wednesday was signed off on. So now the question is, will the Department of Justice release the files, or will there be some investigations that, aw shucks, just came up to hold those up? And will those investigations be the same ones that Trump announced just last week? In the bill is a measure noting that the AG can withhold or retract information that, quote, would jeopardize an active federal investigation or ongoing prosecution, end quote. However, the end of that sentence is, quote, provided that such withholding is narrowly tailored and temporary, end quote. If the Department of Justice holds anything back, they have 15 days to say why they did it. Included in the bill is language that says the DOJ has up to 30 days from its signaling to make everything publicly available in a searchable and downloadable format. And by everything, that would include not only what the DOJ has, but what the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's offices have in relation to Epstein, as well as all investigations, prosecutions, and custodial matters. So that means that the DOJ has until December 19th, the holidays. The DOJ can, however, hold back anything needed to protect the victims, which Speaker Johnson says is his big worry. That's why he hasn't wanted this bill to go forward. He says it doesn't do enough to protect the victims. That's sure. So let's be clear. The bill specifically notes, quote, no record shall be withheld, delayed, or redacted on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, including to any government official, public figure, or foreign dignitary, end quote. So there we go. Those are some pretty clear outlines. Who knows where we go from here? Interesting. That's for sure. It's very, very interesting. We don't know what happens next. There is a very clear deadline. It's gonna get interesting. And that's it. That's the news. I'm proud of children. They have so much potential, and most of them grow up to be pretty cool. I used to be a kid. Not a lot of people know that about me. I'll let you in on a little secret. I used to be a kid. I'm not saying I'm cool. Of course I'm not cool. I literally do a daily news podcast for fun. I'm just saying I used to be young, but more than me, because you are all the best of every single thing rolled into one, put into one person. I don't even know how that's scientifically possible, and yet here we are. And because of that, I'm proud of you.